This evening's tribute to Saint Teresa of Lisieux comes from her sister Celine, who you may remember lived into the 50s. It shows you how close our relationship can be with this very beautiful young woman. And the remarks that she makes in the intimacy of the monastery are equally applicable to all of us who are trying to lead the spiritual life. Oh, I sighed one day to Teresa when I think how much I have to acquire yet. It shows you how intuitively the French mystic will be able to give us the same answer that the Gita gives or the Upanishads give, that you don't have to acquire anything at all. The Atman is already in you. All that you have to do is to remove the veils that cover the Atman. Oh, I sighed one day to Teresa when I think how much I have to acquire yet. Rather, she rejoined, how much you have yet to lose. Jesus himself will fill your soul with treasures in the same measure that you love, that you move your imperfections out of his way. That's why I was saying what profound insight she can give to strengthen us in our sadhana. This is one of the fundamental positions in Hindu mysticism, that everybody is full of worth. Nobody can be worthless even if he tries or she tries. And whatever mistakes you have committed in the past, whatever problems you have in the present, they do not scar your consciousness. They do not sully your pristine purity. You must have seen in our little creek down the access road, the water is already beginning to flow fast, and it's only a matter of time before the water will be covered by green moss. What do you call it here? You must be having some fancy botanical name. Yeah. And I remember when I used to go for walks and would see this bed of duckweed, that I could almost lie down on it and go to sleep. It looked so green, so solid, so tempting, covered with a green counterpane, if you're familiar with that word. And it is only after you've removed the duckweed, the covering, that you find there is crystal clear water flowing underneath. And the practice of meditation is for the purpose of removing the ego weed that looks very green, very attractive, very tempting for us to make us feel, let me lie down in the arms of the ego and find eternal rest. So she's telling from her personal experience that there is nobody who doesn't have this core of purity, who doesn't have this core of perfection, who doesn't have this fountain of love which has been all covered up, almost hidden from our view. See, just as archaeologists, when they go to Greece or to India, they do a lot of digging, excavating, and come across some very valuable relic of a lost civilization. This is what we are going to find in the depths of our meditation, when all the layers of self will have been removed. All the layers of greed and anger and fear have been removed. There is the inestimable jewel called the Atman shining within the lotus of the heart. There are great saints who have won heaven by their works. It's a very characteristically beautiful remark of this young woman. There are great saints who have won heaven by their works. Teresa said one day, but my favorite patrons are those who stole it. I want to win heaven by a stratagem of love, which will open its gates to me and to all poor people like me. See, it is not given to all of us to live on the vast canvas of a Mahatma Gandhi. And the reason why I have been presenting Mahatma Gandhi here is for the purpose of inspiring us to remove self-will, to remove all the obstacles, so that wherever we are, in the ashram, in our relationships with people here, in the work that we are doing, in the press, at the school, at the clinic, in the kitchen, through this work and through our personal example, we can also steal our way into the kingdom of Krishna consciousness or the kingdom of heaven, as Saint Teresa puts it. My chief desire through life has been to give pleasure to the good God, to the Atman, to the self, to the Christ within. When we are being kind to everybody in difficult situations, not saying anything discourteous, working with them harmoniously even if there are difficulties, we are pleasing God, as you would put it. I would say we are moving closer to the Atman. Whenever we are being unkind, we are moving away from the Atman. Whenever we are being kind, we are moving closer to the Atman. It belongs to love to sacrifice everything. When I was saying last evening, this is the quintessence of romance. Love at its highest, at its most glamorous, expressed in very practical words by a young girl who would retire from the world into the silence of the monastery. It belongs to love to sacrifice everything. I put it much more gently when I say, if you are in love, you'll put others first. And you can go about looking around you, You'll see that there is no need to take many protestations seriously. When you find somebody putting those around first, you know that person is in love. And that person is going to grow in love. And the aim should always be to fall in love ultimately with everybody. Just as Romeo is capable of falling in love with Juliet, or Othello is capable of falling in love with Desdemona, The Gita would say, just as Saint Teresa would say, we are capable of falling in love with everybody. You can see, if you can get so much satisfaction out of falling in love with one fellow or one woman, the demands of falling in love with 1,000,000 people brings 1,000,000 more times of joy. That's what the Upanishads, they calculate, they almost give a kind of mathematical table. See, when I was in my high school, I had to learn some of your Western measures of weight. I don't think it is so much American as British. Even now I remember the Malayalam. 14 gram 1 ounce. 14 grams 1 ounce. 14 gram 1 ounce. 14 ounce or ratal. 14 ounces make 1 pound. I hope I am correct. Joanne, is it 14 or 16? 16. Times have changed. And it goes on. So many pounds make 1 stone. 14. 14 pounds make 1 stone. Now, see, it didn't make any sense to me. To none of us did it make any sense. 14 pounds making 1 stone. And when we read that marvelous table, multiplication table, on the pages of the Upanishad, it doesn't make sense until you fall in love with 1,000,000 people. Then your joy, the Upanishad say, is 1,000,000 times the joy of Romeo. 1,000,000 times the joy of Juliet. And if you can fall in love with 4 billion people, which means living in a manner, consuming only minimum resources, always aware of the needs of people all over the world, your joy is 4 billion times the joy of Orlando. And Saint Teresa therefore says, it belongs to love to sacrifice everything. Don't ever say, I like this. Always say, you like this. Therefore, using discrimination, I'll help to make you happy. You love this, which is for your permanent welfare, so even at my expense, I'll contribute to your permanent joy. This is what love means. And it means not sitting by candlelight, which I think we are going to do as a very loving concession to the younger people. But, when I see people sitting by the candlelight and having their dinner, my first inclination is to quote some of the old comic poems that I used to read. And I was reading in the Argus Courier that I get now every Saturday, that there is a well-known restaurant in a neighboring city by the waterfront. You can sit by the candle and eat by the waterfront, admiring the distant view. These are all games which children should play. And for grown-ups, what they have to do is, from morning till evening, be vigilant in putting everybody around first. Just putting one person first is a game. The Atman is in everyone. The other day I was reading you a passage from some scientific forecast that it is possible that they will clone a human being. And I didn't bat an eyelid. If I go to see Europeans again, which I understand will be coming to Petaluma in a couple of months, if I find a clone seated by my side, I am not going to be discourteous. I'm going to say, oh, this is what Sherbatsky, the Russian scholar, says, people who do not have any Atman. Yeah. It's a highly sophisticated Buddhist joke. And every creature has a self. Ganesha has a self, Mukha has a self, Hebels has a self, Whoosh has a self, Froggies has a self. And see, they are not able to realize it, that is all. This we have to remember. They are not able to realize it. It is we alone who have come into the human context who have the capacity to choose between putting ourselves first and putting others first. And in putting others first all the time, we attain awareness of the Christ within. It belongs to love to sacrifice everything. Now, those of you who are not capable of translating these marvelous words into your life, even if necessary over a long period, please don't use the word love. That's how Saint Teresa would apply. It belongs to love to sacrifice everything, to give generously. Never say, well, there's a phrase, give it till it hurts. What do you mean? Give it when it hurts. This giving till it hurts is all right for children, but for lovers it is give when it hurts. If it hurts more, it's a call for giving more. To give generously, to become a spendthrift. Oh, look at the words chosen, you know. Don't go keeping your love in a secret wallet in your hip pocket and then keeping your hand on it to make sure that somebody doesn't lift it. I was reading advice in a well-known journal, how to keep your, prevent your wallet from being stolen. This is one of the important things, you know. It is not conducive to good posture. You remember Gail's friend says, whatever you do, you can do, provided your posture is correct. If you're going like this in life, it's going to affect your posture and your meditation. And another secret that was considered to be very, very secret, top secret, was keep 2 wallets. One with a couple of dollar notes and a few nickels. Keep it in your pocket, outer pocket. And then inside, keep a small wallet with $100 bills and a little gold ring. So that just when the fellow jumps on you from right, just take it. Shows you to what ridiculously extent some of these advisors can go. The answer is, don't teach people to love money. Don't play up money. Money is just paper, just metal. As Sri Ramakrishna would say, remember taking all those rupees and then throw the gadgets and feeling very pleased with sense of economy. And these sages like Mahatma Gandhi or Saint Teresa of Avila or the great bodhisattvas, they go about scattering largesse, you know, if that expression is still familiar. You stuff your pockets with love and you just go scattering it on everybody. You don't say, have you been good to me? Have you been very nice to my brother-in-law? It doesn't matter. Take it. Help yourself as much as you want. Being a spendthrift. Love is prodigal to excess, extravagant, you know. Just as when you feel frustrated, you go to Emporium and buy everything that you don't need and spend $500. Being extravagant, you see. You don't care. Similarly, Saint Teresa is too like that. When you feel frustrated and when you feel rather depressed, go out and be nice to everybody that you can think of. Good to everybody that you can think of. Help people whom you don't even know. And you'll feel very secure, very joyful, because you've been really extravagant. It is not the bills coming, now it is the checks coming. In the first, you're afraid to open the mail. And now it is all the checks coming. Love is prodigal to excess and never counts the cost. That's so factual, The moment you begin to think, how much am I going to get out of it? How much is it going to cost me? You're not in love. She is not talking about heaven, no, she's talking about being in love. And if you are really in love, you don't count the cost. If you are really in love, it doesn't matter how much it costs you. That's where Saint Teresa becomes very contemporary in saying, don't hope any dividends. See, one or two of the companies sometimes in which we buy shares, not only do they not give any dividends, they even send you a letter saying that there has been a loss. You have received a few letters. And I always feel grateful they are not asking me for any compensation. That's real love, where you not only don't get any dividends, sometimes you even get unkindness and you don't change. You retain faith. It's only very deeply secure people who can do this, because in the long run, there are very few who can resist the impact of such irresistible love. Oh, for that love which gives all with a total surrender of self besides. And in a great romantic exclamation, and always remember, she is still in her 20s, early 20s. She says, that's the kind of love I feel in my heart, and that's the kind of love, she tells Celine, that she wants all of us to feel in their heart. Here is a little example which should appeal to us very easily. Therese used to say that during recreation, more than at any other time, we should find opportunities for the practice of virtue. Even during recreation, even in the movie theater, even at ACT, even on the beach, we can practice putting the other people first. This is particularly applicable to people in schools, colleges, hospitals. For example, I might be relating to a sister a story which I believe is interesting. If she interrupts me to relate something else which bores me, see, it happens every day, everywhere. I should try to be interested. It's very difficult. You cough, you hem. As I was saying, Joanne, wouldn't you, where did I stop? We all say that, and here, just a little situation to show a marvelous greatness. Be careful then, Therese counseled me, not to try to resume what you were saying. One day I went into Trema and the children were at the table and there was Rama saying, as I was saying. Be very careful then, Therese counseled me, not to try to resume what you were saying, and in this way you will leave recreation filled with great interior peace. You may not have any applause, but inwardly you try it and see. You may have a temporary mood of fury, but it will give later on to inward peace when you get home. That's why I say she is really a divine date. You go and everywhere she'll put you first. If only Therese said, we could realize how much we gain by self-denial in all things. Even little things, everywhere. You realize it certainly, I said, that is Helene. For haven't you always sacrificed your own self-interest? Yes, she replied, there is no false vanity. Yes, she replied, I have forgotten self, eliminated the ego, and I have not tried to rediscover myself in anything at all. In that one sentence, we have a picture of the true Therese, of the true lover. One day, in some matters of trifling importance, I had given in to self on several scores. This is Theresa's reaction. True, no serious harm has been done. But there are some little ripples on the surface of your soul. To stand up for your own rights is not necessarily a serious offense against your neighbor. It is true, but your own soul is the loser. We are not called upon to be justices of the peace. This right belongs to God alone. Our vocation is to be angels of peace. See, this assertion, I am right, you're wrong. She says, that's not our vocation. Ours to be angels of peace. Sometimes, even in India, people write JP after their name, Justice of the Peace. We should all be able to write AP after our name, Angel of Peace. Now I am facing death. We are coming almost to the end of our mortal life, middle 20s, younger than most of the women here. Now I am facing death, but my life has been a happy one, which is something very few people can say. We have moments of happiness, or as Thomas Hardy used to put it, in his most cheerful moments. There's an oasis of happiness in a vast desert of sorrow. It is in one of the most optimistic moments. And she says, what the Buddha, who never used to think about himself, would say, which I hope all of us will be able to say one day, I am the happiest of mortals. There is none happier than me on the face of the earth. Now I am facing death, but my life has been a happy one because I have tried to put self-seeking away from me, never seeking my pleasure, never seeking my profit, never forcing my way unlovingly on others. The only way to attain happiness is to know perfect love. Perfect love means loving all, under all circumstances, in thought, word, and deed. And the only way to attain perfect love is to forget self entirely. In other words, if you want to love to your fullest, to your deepest, then you have to forget yourself. You've got to completely eliminate your ego. And when you are able to do that, you will find that you are in love with everybody or as she probably would put it, that you see Christ in everyone and everyone in Christ. And the only way to attain perfect love is to forget self entirely and never to seek gratification for yourself in anything. This does not mean not enjoy. To the little extent that is possible for me, question, does it please me or does it not please me? This is a question that my mind no longer asks. Once upon a time, it used to ask. Once upon a time, I used to lean towards what was pleasant and move away from what was painful to me. And through the practice of meditation and the allied disciplines over many years, and through the blessing of my teacher, even that question doesn't arise. Does it please me or does it not please me, which is the cause of all our misery? As the Buddha says, when this question arises, sorrow arises. When this question is at rest, there is joy always. Now the only question that arises is, does it help others? Does it benefit others? And whatever is of help to others, I don't have to force myself to do it. It gives me joy to do it. Whatever is of benefit to everybody, whatever my condition may have been in the past, I don't have to decide to do it. I don't have to grit my teeth and do it. I do it with great delight. This is, again, something that we can all learn through practice. If you keep on doing only what you please yourself, you're going to be more and more insecure. You're going to be more and more alienated. On the other hand, if you keep on practicing, doing that benefits what benefits everybody, gradually you'll find joy all the time in doing what is a benefit to everyone around you. And Teresa says, you will grow and help others to grow to their full height.